You are listening to Single Smart Female. This is Jen, explaining the possibilities in your love life and examining your mantourage dating experiences. I am here to help you do life and love on your terms by tipping the scales of love permanently in your favor. So don't forget to text this episode to all of your single smart girlfriends, and let's get started. Howdy there, Single Smart Female. It's your romantic fairy godmama, coming to you today with a Single Smart Female listener question. Now, this listener question comes from Miss New to Dating Again, who is 38 years old. And Miss New to Dating Again writes, Dear Jen, I was married for 13 years before discovering that my husband had a severe sex addiction and all the problems associated with that. We have recently divorced. I spent a year working on myself and trying to heal. Now I'm dipping my toes in dating and trying to have healthy, honest relationships with men. I went on a first date with a guy, which was great, and we kissed at the end. This is my first kiss after divorce, so it feels like a big deal. I was interested in going out with him again, but then I saw that he lied about his age on his profile. He is 43, but he said he's 39. On our date, I asked if he was 39, and he said, no, I'm 43. I was wondering why I thought he was 39 and saw after the date that his profile says that. Is this a deal breaker? I must have honesty, and I'm especially sensitive to it because of my history. I haven't contacted him because I'm trying to think about what this means. How should I handle this situation? Help a girl out. Okay, Miss New to Dating Again, I will do just that. I will help a girl out. So let's start with the first thing. Is this a deal breaker? Now, in my world, and you're going to hear from a lot of people, yes, this is absolutely a deal breaker. In my world, this is not a deal breaker, and let me explain why. I don't like it. It's not my favorite thing. I don't like when women lie about their age, which we do because people are trying to fit into certain search criterias and blah, blah, blah. I think we all should just be legit and go with it. But it does happen and happens quite frequently. So is that why I don't think that it should be a deal breaker? No. It's because I have different criteria for mantourage versus relationship. So now, would this be a deal breaker if he was doing these lies up to the fact getting in and you're at the point to get into a relationship? I would say yes. Then it would be a deal breaker. Of course, I don't think that this just one would be it. It would be a culmination. You'll be able to see the different ones. So, and especially in your situation, because you are especially sensitive to this right at this moment, then yeah, if you were stepping into a relationship, I would say yes. Okay? Now, but including a man in your mantourage is completely different. And you can be a bit more forgiving. So let me give you a really interesting scenario that some of you guys are going to be like, oh my gosh, Jen, what the hell are you thinking? And I'm going to explain why. So I have a client who went out with a man that was several years younger than her. And it was just absolutely incredible. Best sex of her life. It was just phenomenal, jaw-dropping. He made her feel things that she'd never felt before. After a little bit, he started getting just a little bit strange, and he wasn't being consistent with her anymore, and he would arrange dates with her, and then he would lie about getting out of those dates and just make up random excuses for why he couldn't, even though it was evident to her that that was not the case. And of course, the question is, do you continue to see somebody like this? And if you understand in the premise of a mantourage meaning you have 3 or more men that you're talking to, dating actively, things like that, as long as you're not looking at them at that moment for long-term potential, yes, it's absolutely okay to continue and just kind of not worry so much about the little white lies. I hate to say this, but we as a society, and women do this all the time, we do these little white lies. Now, if they start adding up into bigger lies, we have another situation. But these small things like saying that somebody cancels a date on you, but they don't tell you the exact reason why, or a friend, which this happens with our girlfriends all the time, they'll make up an excuse because they have to cancel or they just don't feel like going, or they've got a better option. The thing is that we lie to each other all the time, and I'm not recommending that. I'm just stating the state of society right now. And in fact, when women work with me, I help them always word things so that they are never doing that they can just own their truth and go into it and be really heard by men and the people around them. But I do think if you understand the premise of mantourage dating is about exploring. It's not about having everybody has to be perfectly lined up from the beginning. It's about learning to have fun with men again. And this is really important for you, especially as you continue your healing. You said you did a year of healing. Our healing always is going on. By the way, when I say we're always healing, it doesn't mean we're always broken either. It's just we're always, getting better and doing amazing things with our life and growing in certain ways. And then pieces of us will come up and we get the opportunity to heal them. But it is important to understand that, especially in your mantourage, it is okay to include somebody in your mantourage as long as they treat you well. That's the main premise. That maybe isn't picture perfect. Okay, even if there is a tiny trigger there, that is something you can look at and go, you know what? Yes, he did this, and this is probably a product of society, but let me see how he continues to treat me. If this little lies keep adding up, then we can revisit this. But it doesn't mean that I can't include him as an experiment in my mantourage. Now, again, remember, the closer you get to relationship, of course, you're not going to get into relationships with somebody who has even white lies all the time. That's ridiculous. You want definite honesty. But at the beginning, I don't think we fully disclose things. And sometimes instead of having to have really awkward conversations about stuff or wanting the best options and things, we get creative with the truth, which it's not great, but it's not the end of the world. So number 2 in all this is your kiss. And I want to say, yes, this is definitely a big deal. And congrats to you on your first post-marriage kiss. I know how that feels. It's fucking spectacular. And it's a gateway into all the feelings, all the feels, the romantic connection you can have. Careful, especially after coming out of 13 years of something, especially with severe sex addiction, that you don't necessarily conflate that with and go into hyperfocus. I don't think you're doing that, but that's always a concern because we get caught up in that moment like, oh my God, this is amazing. And then no other guy can kiss you that great anymore. So make sure you're still staying open to the possibilities. It is imperative, especially for you, because you're coming out of something, severe sex addiction, it's such a trust-breaking piece of understanding in a relationship and having to go through that. And I'm sorry that you had to at all. What I want to encourage you to do is use it to make yourself stronger, but not more closed off. And I know that can be really hard. I know you've been working on yourself, and I want to encourage you to keep doing that. But it is really important that you use mantourage dating instead of going into trying to put all your eggs in one basket right now. Because if you allow mantourage dating to do the work that it does, you can truly heal and learn to trust men again. Why? Because you're learning to take things on your terms. You're learning to be vulnerable in the right moments, but you're also learning to draw in the type of men who are going to be protective and not possessive, or that are going to be fully honest. And by the way, a white lie does not mean that they're always going to lie. I do remember specifically with my husband. My husband is one of the most honest people I've ever met in my life. But when he would cancel on a date on me, he'd give me some little white lie about why he was doing it. And all I did was just not worry about it because I was developing my mantourage and I wasn't putting all my eggs in his basket. So it gave him time to work out his kinks as he decided to step up and be the man that I needed in my life because he really was falling hard for me. Now, with you specifically, let's talk about timelines for mantourage dating. Mantourage dating, when done well, I definitely recommend my free 3-day class, mantouragedating.com. But when done well, it is extraordinarily healing. It can teach you all the goodness in men because you'll get to see it firsthand and you'll get to see it repeatedly, not just from one man, but from many men. And you'll start to understand what your possibilities are in love and romance. But for you specifically, I would recommend dating longer. Make that process longer. I have women that love to mantourage date for years, okay? I'm not telling you exactly what the time frame is here, but I wouldn't go into a relationship within a few months. I would give yourself some time to actually explore. and build that trust again. Build the trust in yourself that you're going to recognize the things that you need to recognize, and build the trust with men that they're going to be able to step up and be the man that you need them to be. And that's hard to do coming out of this situation and jumping into another one, not another situation, but another romantic relationship, and then having all your expectation on him to be perfect because you are easily triggered. Before you go into a relationship, get yourself to the point, use Mantourage dating, where you don't feel easily triggered anymore. You know that you can trust men. You know that you can trust your intuition. You know that you can do the things that you need to do in life and have the partnership that you really want. And you really start to believe that before you actually go into the partnership. And if you do these things, you'll understand that again, I'm helping a girl out here. The little things are not a deal breaker in the Mantourage phase, okay? And also, you'll have a better relationship when you get to the relationship phase because you'll fully trust yourself and you'll fully trust him. Okay, lover girl, it's time for the final thought on today's show. The two big actual deal breakers for including a man in your Mantourage are: if he lies about being in another relationship while talking or dating you, or if he's aggressively derogatory towards you or women in general. Hey, lover girl, don't forget to subscribe to the show in your favorite podcast app, as well as share this episode with all of your Single Smart girlfriends. And if you are ready to stop pretending that you can indefinitely survive on scraps of his romantic attention, and instead learn how to Mantourage date with your romantic fairy godmama directly, then come schedule your application interview at secretsocietyofAdoredWomen.com. Most women repeatedly fail in their romantic endeavors because they have the wrong guidance, no accountability, no romantic support system, and shit-ass one-size-fits-all dating advice that doesn't work for smart, successful women. Adored women, on the other hand, have me at their fingertips to help them brilliantly navigate Mantourage dating with excessive laughter, giddiness, and all the right feels you've been craving. True love included, no batteries required. See you at secretsocietyofAdoredWomen.com.